What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're finally installing the inner fender liners on my Jeep Wrangler. I have the box right here. I'll have this exact product down in the description below if you'd like to get these for your own Jeep. If you saw in a previous video when I installed these aftermarket fender flares, I didn't realize we were ripping out the entire stock inner fender liner. So I finally got this box here. Let's go ahead and see what's inside. You want to help me out, Maddie? What do I got here? Alright, so as you can tell, we have a million pieces right here laid out. We have all the hardware, and you can see there's the American flag in these too, so that's going to be a great touch to see. We're also using the American flag to help us know which side is which based on the way the American flag is positioned. So Brian and I are going to set up the GoPro and the time-lapse because there's no instructions. We have a million pieces, a million bolts, and we're going to get at least one put together and go from there. So 10 or 15 minutes later, this is an assembled rear. This is the passenger side. So I'm going to show you guys now how to take the pieces and turn it into this. So I'm going to start with the base, which I'm going to call has the American flag on it. So we're starting with this piece here, and then the piece on the left side of it is going to be this one here. It has this little notch in it with one of the tabs for a screw to go through, very uniquely shaped. So all these are different, which is going to help you out. This piece is going to line up with both of these here, and using my one that's already mocked up, it's going to go on the outside of this one. So this is going to be closer to me here. We can go ahead and use the supplied hardware and put this one into place. Alright, so that is two of the pieces done, and it's going to look like this now. I'm going to go ahead and then take this piece here. You'll see it has an angle to the right side along with a flat piece and then two bolt holes on the top. So just like this other piece, this one is going to go on the front side, and we have two holes on the bottom. You're going to have to bend this up just a little bit, but it's very pliable, so that is easy. So now we'll go ahead and put this one in place. Alright, and then the last piece is going to be this one here. You'll see it has another flat edge on it. Here we go. It's going to perfectly get placed right in between this piece here. With the rears done, the fronts are pretty self-explanatory. Without knowing it, these are all the pieces that you need for the front. So again, with the base, with the American flag, we have this large section here that lines up perfectly. I don't know what bolt goes on the top yet, but we'll figure that out. So it's been a couple hours now, and we have finished up with the passenger side. We learned a lot doing this project, and we have a really good grasp to show you guys a good step-by-step on how to do the driver's side. So we'll go ahead and do a quick before and after. You can see on the driver's side here, of course, everything is fully exposed, which is not good for rocks or anything kicking up. I actually found a little bit of water in my stock taillights from not having these on. So it's been a little bit of time, but there is our before. And now if we go ahead and check out the passenger side, look how much better that is. We have the American flag there. course on the rear, and then up in the front here, you can just see it there. So I really love how these look on the Jeep, and it's gonna look much better when I have a lift, wheels, and tires, of course. So on the driver's side, I showed earlier in this video putting these two pieces together. You want to take them back apart because it's gonna make it a lot easier for the install. There's a few things that we have to do. So you wanna grab the longer of the clip, or the clips that are in this kit. There are two of them. Of course, one goes on the other side, and then this one is going to go right here on this hole. So on the other side, we actually had to snip off a little bit of the bottom to get it to work. The hammer there, it should actually line up. All right, so the other side was harder, this side is easier. So we have that to do. We also have to pop off this little plastic thing here. So I just used some flatheads on the other side to pop these clips out. It's just gonna take a little bit of wiggling to do that. And then last up on the very front, this kit comes with this bracket here, and that's actually going to get sandwiched underneath this bolt here near the body mount. So I have a 16 millimeter, and I'm just going to loosen this enough in order to slide that underneath. So with that bolt up high enough, there is a driver's side and a passenger side. So what you want to do, you can see this cutout here, that's going to go up underneath the bolt, and then the front of it is just going to get placed at the front there, of course, and then you want this angled up to have the bolt from the inner fender liner to match it. So if you have the other one in, it's going to be aimed down. Make sure that it's aimed up, and we can go ahead and tighten this back up. There's also one more clip that you'll have to install. It's one of the smaller ones, and then we can go ahead and finagle this in. Now there is one of these clips here that's holding a wire on the back side. One of those is going to go through this hole here. So I'm not going to remove it. I'm just going to push it into that hole. So you just have to wiggle this a little bit just to get it in place. All right, and so now we just need to install the other two bolts. Before I go ahead and install this piece now with the American flag on it, one thing that I went ahead and did, and is this going to be the same on a stock Jeep too? Right, this wiring harness?
If you have the stock fender flares, you should be good.
Okay, yeah, so if you have aftermarket fender flares, I went ahead and took the wiring for the turn signals and just placed it behind this piece here, so it's up and out of the way just a little bit. And now we can go ahead and finagle this in. There's a little loop on this side that's gonna go on the back side of this screw here. So I did not tighten that one down all the way. And then from there, we just have to work on putting the 3 bolts into these holes here. And the good thing with this is all of those have threaded holes. So all we have to do is go ahead and place these. The last bolt before we have self-tapping screws that we'll use is that bracket that we placed on the back side here. So just by holding this up just like that, I should be able to get this to go in. On the passenger side, it took us about 15 or 20 minutes to line this up because we had some clearance issues with this corner here. On this side, it's actually going pretty smoothly. So just know that it might be a little bit tricky to push this up into place. Onto these self-tapping screws now, and you'll see on the top of this plate, there are 3 holes. So there's one there, and one in the front. So I'm gonna start with the one in the back side here, and pretty self-explanatory. I got the power drill just to give me a little bit more power as we drop that there.
Is that the idea?
Yeah. Working on the last flare now, there's one trick that we learned with this. On the other side, we cut off the ends of these bolts here. They were actually rubbing up against the inner fender liner there, so it wasn't having a flush fitment. So that's one trick to do. Now what we need to do is find the 3 holes that line up with these. We're gonna go ahead and reuse those bolts and use those for these holes. This front one here is useless, especially with my aftermarket flares, so we won't be using that, but it's gonna be a very snug fit.
And we do have to take out this one and that one just because they get in the way. And then we're going to use that bolt hole and then these 2 top bolt holes to actually adhere everything.
Right. With all that hardware removed, we're going to take 2 of these other shorter clips and go ahead and place them on these top 2 holes here. Since I won't be able to reuse the bolts that I had on these aftermarket flares, I won't be able to get the nut on the back side. That's why we are utilizing these. So now we're going to start by replacing the bolt on the back side. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for the installation of the fender liners on the Jeep Wrangler. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. The truck looks so much better. It is now complete with the fender flares and these fender liners. We have big mods coming for the Jeep, so make sure you guys subscribe and stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We'll see you guys in the next one.